Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Naseem here. Now, after using the 9th gen iPad for over 8 months now, the one thing that kept coming to my mind after using it on a day-to-day basis was this simple statement that I think explains the 9th gen iPad pretty perfectly. And that statement is, I think that the 9th gen iPad is still the best budget tablet in 2022. And I say this because when you think about it, what other tablet in the market can compete with this iPad? Even 8 months after its release, this is still leading in every category. The 9th gen iPad has the best budget display, it gets many more years worth of updates than its competitors, the software doesn't feel cheap as opposed to other tablets, and it has a much better build quality, which means that the hardware will last you a very long time. And these things are very important because it shows you that you don't have to spend a fortune just to get a quality product that can last you for many years. And even though I do think that the 9th gen iPad is by far the best in its category, I wanted to give you guys some insight on my experience with it after 8 months of use, so that you can decide whether or not it's right for you. And now the first thing that I wanted to look at when it came to how the 9th gen iPad held up after 8 months of use was the display. Now the 9th gen iPad has a 10.2 inch LED backlit display that is easily the smoothest feeling screen in its price range. The nice responsiveness mixed with the smooth software really gives an immersive feel that Apple was able to captivate on. I was also really impressed with how sharp the haptics were. Like right here, you could just see how responsive it is, and there were only 2 times where I got any lags or hiccups, and that was also an immersive experience that made me want to use it more. Now the size of the display was really nice, but one thing that I didn't like about the display was that it had those huge outdated bezels. I would have preferred Apple to make it look like an iPad Air, but a physical home button is pretty nice to have. I also really liked how good the brightness was. Like whenever I was outside with my iPad, I would usually watch a video on it, and since most of the days were sunny, I had no problem with being able to see and doing any task on it. And now the last thing that I liked about the display was just how good the visual experience was as a whole. Like right here, you can see me watching the video, and I really loved how sharp the resolution was. The colors were still pretty vibrant yet realistic, and the size was big enough for it to feel like a mini TV. And to show you guys what I mean, here's some examples of me watching the video and playing the game.
Right into a boatload of traffic. Williams, cross-court, Bryant, fake ones, up it goes, and down it goes through. Find it, got lay-in to go. Kobe shifting gears, works on Klay Thompson, off bad time. What a shot by Bryant.
Good shot blockers. Lakers settling for the jump shot. Kobe's got that ball stop, jumper away good. First bucket of the night.
In double figures, 20 out of the last 21, so consistent. That's a good feed under to Bryant, and he scores on the...
And now the next thing that I wanted to look at when it came to how the 9th gen iPad held up after 8 months of use was the software. Now the 9th generation iPad handled iPad OS 15 software really well. Despite it only being a year old, the animations and feel were buttery smooth, I didn't get any app crashes, and every app was full screen unlike a lot of other tablets. It was also able to run power heavy apps really well. I would play a lot of Call of Duty with my controller, and I rarely got any lag, even though I would get it at sometimes. The controller movements were pretty precise and the graphics were pretty good. But besides that, it still had those premium iOS software features like the ability to use different devices at ease, iMessage, FaceTime, and all of those premium iOS apps that many people use. And overall, it still had that premium iOS smoothness that even with the bugs was the joy of using. And if you are considering getting this tablet, then using less power heavy apps will definitely improve the performance. And now the next thing that I wanted to look at when it came to how the iPad 9th gen held up after 8 months of use was the battery. Now my iPad will usually get me 4 to 6 hours of on-screen time, but it was still able to last me more than a day with a lot of battery left, which means that you won't have to charge it as much throughout the week. I would usually end my day with 40 to 50%, which again was good enough to carry me into the next day. There were even times where I wouldn't charge it just to test out the battery, and I would end the second day with about 10% left, which still could carry me through the night. And now the charging unfortunately wasn't as fast, but since the battery was able to last me so long, I had no problem. And again, I would charge my iPad overnight, so I didn't really care too much about the small charging speeds. So overall, I would say that the battery on the 9th gen iPad was really good. And if you're someone who's looking to get this iPad in 2022, then it will last you all day with no problems. And now the next thing that I wanted to look at when it came to how the 9th gen iPad held up after 8 months of use was the speakers. Now the speakers on this iPad were much better than my 8th gen iPad. The bass was really good, especially when I would play more intense songs on my playlist. The overall sound quality was really good compared to the 8th gen iPad. The vocals were very loud and clear. The instrumentals were louder than expected, and the sound enhanced my viewing experience. And to give you guys an idea of how the speakers sound, I'm going to play a video so that you can just see how loud they are.
Gonna have the first down. The Bengals move the chains for the first time. I bet you Matthew comes over and helps out right there. 2nd and 9. Burrow dumps it off. Mixon tries to get around Gay and he is pummeled. Out of the gun. They got the first by just a half a yard as it's caught.
They're really good against the blitz.
Here's the 2nd and 10. It's Boyd again. Burrow has another one.
And now the final thing that I want to look at when it came to how the iPad 9th gen held up after 8 months of use was the cameras. Now the cameras on the 9th gen iPad are, in my opinion, criminally underrated, and even though it's a tablet, I was still able to get some really good quality photos despite what most people would think. Like right here, you can see my outside daytime photos, and I would say that these were really good pictures that turned out really well. The skies were very vibrant yet color accurate. The trees and other aspects of nature were very sharp. My face looked pretty color accurate, especially when compared to last year's version where it will look lighter or yellow at times. And the overall vibrancy of the outside pictures were pretty great. And when we look at the inside daytime photos, I would say that these were also really great. Like right here, you can see that there was no graininess no matter how dark it got. And my selfies were pretty okay once you come to the fact that it's a tablet. And coming to my final conclusion, I think that the 9th gen iPad is an amazing budget tablet that still holds up really well in 2022. It has durability, it has many more years worth of updates, and it still is an overall great tablet. And there it is, you guys, my review on the 9th gen iPad. Now let me know down below, would you get the 9th gen iPad over any other budget tablet in the market? Let me know. And if you guys made it to the end of this video, I would like to say thank you for sticking around, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe. It will be very appreciated. And as far as social media, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.